Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this very special night. I'm Robert Treadwell. I'm your Public Information Officer, and I'd like to welcome you to Village Hall for this joyous occasion. We will begin tonight with an invocation, followed by the presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance. Afterward, our newly re-elected mayor, Karen Cunningham, will be sworn in for a new term, along with re-elected council members Patrick Fiore and Marcia Matson. For tonight's invocation, please welcome the recently retired chaplain for the Miami-Dade Police Department and Palmetto Bay resident, Deacon Ralph Gazitua.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God, for the multitudes of blessings that you have bestowed upon the village of Palmetto Bay. Thank you, Karen, for all the strength that you had and the fortitude. By the way, I'm her spiritual advisor. So thank you for being who you are, and also for Patrick, and for Marcia, for winning this election. You solely deserve it. So what we ask now is God to bring an abundance of wisdom, knowledge, and fortitude to each and every one of you, and also to Steve and to Leanne. Bring them abundance. And we pray for unity. We pray for peace. We also pray for those individuals that are serving today, the law enforcement officers, one that was affected today with a wound, the representatives from the Army, those people that are in the public services that are part of Palmetto Bay, Palmetto Village. So we pray for all those individuals, and we're so very grateful. So I ask you, Lord, to come to this gathering and to bless these city's officials abundantly, and let 2023 be a fantastic year. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Deacon. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Miami-Dade Police Department Honor Guard.
Forward and access. Mark. 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 Ready? Turn. Ready? Ball.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance by Gabriela Antion Galvan.
Present. Arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms.
Honor Guard, please post the colors.
Step. Ready? Face. Forward. Mark. Ready? Ball. Ready? Post. Recover. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Ready? Face. Forward and half step. Mark.
Thank you, Honor Guard, and thank you, Gabriella. I would now like to introduce a man who is admired by elected officials and village staff alike for his leadership qualities, his tenacity, his commitment to his job, and also for his kindness. Please welcome Village Manager Nick Morano.
Thank you, Robert. Well, good evening, everyone. Last week at our State of the Village, you had the voice of the Miami Heat. Tonight, you've got me. So before I get started, I would like to recognize the dignitaries and elected officials that we have here this evening. I saw former Palmetto Bay Councilman Howard Tendrick. Welcome here this evening, sir. Also, former Mayor Shelley Stanzik. Welcome, Madam Mayor. We have the Honorable Andrea Wolfson, as well as the Honorable Lisa Walken. Welcome all of you here this evening. I see many people here are at least my age, so I think for most of you, this will be familiar, especially if you had a Catholic childhood. Back when I was growing up, the parish that I grew up in was trying to build a new elementary school. So the Monsignor added a second collection to every Sunday Mass. So we had the first collection and then the second collection. This wasn't a Protestant church where they handed around a plate and everyone got to contribute to it. No, they actually go down the aisle in the old Catholic churches and they stick it in front of you, and you better be putting something in that basket. So needless to say, there's a lot of grumbling for that second offering every Sunday, and it happened right before dismissal. So I always felt as like a 12-year-old that we couldn't get out of there unless my mother donated additional money to the church. So on the way out one day, I'll never forget it as long as I live, one of the dads confronted the pastor, and he said, "Monsignor, I don't understand. Our Lord said, 'Throw away your riches and follow me.'" And without skipping a beat, the pastor looked at him and said, "Our Lord didn't have to run a parish." And I learned right there and right then the value of a good quip. Well, that too, but actually what I did learn was there are tough decisions that when you're in a position of leadership that you have to make. The village council and the 3 members here who were reelected by the voters have had to make some very difficult decisions over the past few years that they have each been in office. I told all the village employees at our Thanksgiving luncheon that the village council made tough decisions to look out not only for the community, to look out for the village, to look out for the employees, and they took heat for it. And they took a lot of heat in this past election. But again, they made those tough decisions, and they stood tall for it. So when you're moving in the right direction, it's good to keep the same hands on the steering wheel. Mayor Karen Cunningham, Councilman Patrick Fury, and Councilwoman Marcia Matson have all been crucial components of the team that's guided Palmetto Bay towards the success that we now enjoy. Our residents recognize that by re-electing all 3 of them last November. And that gives our council the chance to continue their good work and to focus on even greater accomplishments in the future. Leadership is a skill that grows with time. And the most effective leaders are those who recognize when to stay the course and when to adapt to changing circumstances. Mayor Cunningham, Councilman Fury, and Councilwoman Matson all have years of experience in their positions. They know Palmetto Bay's strengths, and they also recognize its needs. Together with fellow council members, Vice Mayor Leanne Tellum and Councilman Steve Cody, the 3 people sworn in for a new term this evening have been tasked by their fellow residents with continuing our village's legacy of greatness, and it's a task that I know all of them will embrace with enthusiasm and pride.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I would now like to call to the podium re-elected council member for District 3, Marcia Matson. And may I please have Wendy Matson, Fernando Martinez, and Dan Silverman join us to administer the oath of office. I think
Up here? Okay. Stand here. Fernando. Let's see. All right, I'll position. Come here. You stand here.
Testing, testing.
And I stand here. Does that look okay?
All right, Marcia, repeat after me. I, Marcia Matson,
I, Marcia Matson,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will protect, support, and defend the Constitution
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution
and government
and government
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Florida
and the state of Florida
and the village of Palmetto Bay,
and the village of Palmetto Bay.
that I am duly qualified
I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution
under
of
the
the state,
Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
of the office of council member,
of the office of council member,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now about to enter. Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
Oh, who wants the mic? I'll sing you a song if you want.
Congratulations, Councilwoman.
Now the time to make my speech? Or
Yes.
now the time to make my speech? Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. Hello, dignitaries, friends, families, supporters, village staff, residents, and everyone here and watching on our media. Typically, a swearing-in speech is an opportunity to thank everybody, and that's what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to answer a question that I get a lot. Why in the world did I run for office? First, thank you and a big hug to Palmetto Bay voters. 61% of you believed in me and trusted in me with your vote. I am proud to be able to serve you for 4 more years. Thank you to my wonderful, Thank you to my wonderful supporters who gave me money, who stood at the polls for me, and who gave me encouragement throughout the campaign. I couldn't have done it without you. Kisses to all of you. I see you here. Thank you to my dear family. My son, who flew in from Austin, Texas, is an alumnus of Palmetto Bay Public Schools and the University of Miami Business School. He is an international matchmaker and dating coach, and he came to help me in my campaign, standing in the rain and dark at his middle school alma mater, Southwood, on election night. My sister Wendy, thank you, Dan. My sister Wendy and brother-in-law Fernando are here from Spring, Texas, which is just outside of Houston. Not only did they fly in numerous times to help me, we gotta move around, wiggle a little bit. Not only did they fly in numerous times to help me campaign, but they demoed and supervised the rebuilding of my kitchen after they discovered a water leak and mold, all during the campaign. So those of you who have demoed a kitchen, no, not to do it during a campaign. unless you have a sister and brother-in-law who do it for you. My daughter Haley and her husband Ron and my 14-year-old grandson Kai live in San Diego and could not come, but they are here in spirit. I'm so grateful for their affection and support. Thank you. Thank you to amazing Bev Gerald. Bev and I have known each other since 1996 when we worked for 7 years together on incorporating Palmetto Bay into a municipality. We take pride in being founders of the village, along with some 30 people, several of whom are here, who fought the county with all our might to become a village. It was a tough battle and we won. We're here tonight as a village. Bev adopted me at the beginning of the campaign, agreed to be my treasurer, and then drove me to 3,000 voters' doors for 6 months from May to November, almost every day. She set up meetings with residents. She kept me going. After 2 hours of knocking on doors, I would wait for Bev's okay to stop. Sometimes I would say, look, it's raining, it's time to stop. But she wasn't going to let me off the hook. She would say, oh, it's just a little rain. You can do 4 more houses. For months on end, the weather was incredibly hot. It seemed like every day was 90 degrees plus. But then I would jump into her car with her air conditioning blasting, and off we were to the next house. I would always tell her what voters told me at their doors, and we would laugh or groan, but we would always talk about it. Bev loved being up to the minute informed about everything voters said. When we finished for the day, we drank a big glass of wine and talked about what happened and felt really good about the campaign. Bev would draw in a completed voter area on a big map of Palmetto Bay, and we would toast ourselves. By election day, we had covered all of Palmetto Bay and started all over again. I'm so grateful to you, Bev, and for your constant support. Thank you.
State Representative Alana Garcia.
And to Sheila Frazier, thank you so much. She's my back fence neighbor. We wrote a history booklet of Palmetto Bay together. And when Bev couldn't stand it one more minute and would flee to an antique show, Sheila would fill in and drive me around. So thank you also, Sheila. Thank you to my great campaign consultant, Jose Luis Castillo, J.L. Castillo, his partner in business and life, Lourdes, and the Greenpoint team. J.L. is the best consultant ever, without any doubt. Not only did J.L. guide me to a winning campaign this year, but he also did in 2018 when I first ran for council. I thought I knew a lot about politics, but J.L. taught me so much more. Strategy, how to develop a narrative, exploring why something was happening. When I would be upset, he would say, tranquila. When I was happy, he sent me thumbs up emojis. When things were dark, he would say, look at it another way. And then he would show me how this awful thing that just happened was actually fun. And he would go like this, fun. Then all was well again. Thank you, JL, for your guidance, your skill, and your friendship over the years. A lot of people have asked me, what are you doing running for office? I don't know how you can stand it. That's the last thing I would ever do. You're retired. You should be sitting on a beach or traveling. Are you crazy? So I thought I would spend the rest of my swearing in speech, only a few minutes more, I promise, answering the question, why did I run again? And maybe I can answer the bigger question of why should anyone run for elected office? Considering how many people think it is as close to purgatory as one can be while still being alive. I asked my brother-in-law, Fernando Martinez, to hold the U.S. Constitution that I put my hand on to be sworn in. Fernando is a naturalized citizen born in Spain who carries this U.S. Constitution in his pocket. He tells me that when he has a question, he opens it up and reads it. He reads it. I don't know if it answers his question, but he says most of the time it does. And like Fernando, I love America. I love our democracy. I want to be part of keeping it going. Winston Churchill once said, democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. Democracy is fragile. It needs people to participate in it and value it. That is a big part of why I ran for office and why everyone should. Another part of why I ran is that I've always been interested in politics. When I was a teenager, I was a Goldwater girl. Now, does anybody remember Goldwater? Yeah, you remember Goldwater. Before that, I was a Jack Kennedy girl. We all remember Jack Kennedy. In college, I studied history and political science. I have a doctorate in American government and public administration. I retired from the University of Miami after 22 years of teaching, guess what? Government. Over the years, I was an activist for one cause or another. In Palmetto Bay, I joined the effort to incorporate. So running for office was a natural segue from teaching politics and doing politics as an activist. So this time in 2022, I particularly wanted to run a kind of campaign Palmetto Bay residents want, a positive, respectful campaign. My consultant, J.L. Castillo, tailored my campaign to what I wanted perfectly. I met and liked my opponent, Russell Jones. I spoke with residents at their homes. I raised my campaign money from family, friends, and residents. Wonderful people helped me. It was all good. Another reason I ran for election is because Palmetto Bay politics is an adventure, full of ups and downs, often a surprise, good and bad. I like to figure out what to do and say, and that will make my proposals successful. Politics is really conflict. Speaking as a political scientist, politics is conflict. So it's a tough way of life, but working it out in a democracy is how we resolve our disagreements, not throwing each other in prison. I remember in elementary school seeing a flowchart called How a Bill Becomes a Law. It had straight lines leading from the bottom to the top when the bill became a law. Not so in Palmetto Bay. It's this way, it's that way, it's inside and out, backwards and forwards. It's really interesting for me to figure out how to accomplish something good, if it can be accomplished at all. Being in elective office can be a weird experience, a bad experience, a good experience, but it's all worthwhile to participate in our precious democracy. As a council member, my primary goal has been and will continue to be to keep Palmetto Bay government oriented to residents. The motto of our incorporation movement was good government close to the people. Do you remember that? I live by that motto. I read everything, including very fat agenda books, so that I know for a fact that what I, as a council member, am asked to approve really does help the residents. I ask a lot of questions at council meetings so that residents can hear the answers on record and know what the village is doing. More than anything else, I learned on the campaign trail in 2018 and 2022 is that residents hate overdevelopment. I mean, they hate overdevelopment. So I vote against overdevelopment because it's their village. I hope to rewrite our downtown zoning code to reduce density and height. I came up with the idea and passed a resident committee called the Neighborhood Protection Committee. I see you back there, Gary. That suggested 57 recommendations, which I have and I'm still bringing to council, including putting a 45-foot height limit on buildings, writing a construction manual for builders, and limiting construction noise hours. I also authored the new Resiliency Committee to have residents be part of our environmental efforts and save Biscayne Bay. I sponsored a tough vacation rental ordinance to better regulate B&Bs in neighborhoods. I developed a safety grab bar grant for seniors to install grab bars in their bathroom with the village reimbursing them. I passed the requirement that developers had to meet with residents in a community meeting to hear their concerns before going to a zoning meeting. I received many requests from residents for information, traffic control, and any number of problems, so I take great pride and care in responding to them and fixing the problem to the extent that I can. Much of the time, I ask the village manager, where did the manager go? Village manager. Come, I'm calling you out here. I asked the village manager, Nick Morano, to respond, which he does in a timely and efficient way. Thank you, Nick, very much. Residents need to feel that their village cares about them. The village should care about them, and the village does care about them. I ran for re-election to keep residents the top priority in our village. With the help of my colleagues, Mayor Cunningham, congratulations on your re-election, Karen. Vice Mayor Tellem, Commissioner Fiore, congratulations on your re-election, Patrick. And Councilmember Cody. We will put residents first and accomplish great things together. Thank you for the privilege and opportunity to serve Palmetto Bay residents for 4 more years. Go Palmetto Bay, democracy in action. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Councilwoman. And thank you also for your caring and your kindness. Whenever I speak to you, either as a village employee or as a village resident, you are so patient with me. And I just want you to know that I appreciate that so much. So thank you for that. I have been told that State Representative Ilana Garcia has joined us. Thank you. Thank you so much, State Representative, for being with us tonight. Let's see. Now, I would like to call to the podium re-elected council member for District 1, Patrick Fiore. And at this time, I would also like to ask Circuit Court Judge, the Honorable Andrea R. Wolfson, to please come up to administer the oath of office.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Patrick Fiore,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States,
of the state of Florida,
and of the village of Palmetto Bay,
and of the village of Palmetto Bay,
that I am duly qualified
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of the office of council member,
the duties of the office of council member,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now about to enter.
Congratulations, Councilman.
Thank you. Well, we did it. We did it for the 3rd time since 2010. We were successful 3 times. 3 times we ran in District 1, and 3 times we were successful. And because of you, I was very fortunate enough to win those 3 times. I want to thank God for continuing to give me the strength to keep going through the bad times, and there were many. I wouldn't be where I am today without the support of my wife, who keeps pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. My son Giancarlo, and my daughter, who's right now delivering babies at the University of Texas Medical Center in San Antonio, and my son-in-law, Wilson, who's helping to save lives also. I've been very blessed with a tremendous family. Judge Wolfson, thank you again for coming back 4 years later to swear me in for the final time. You know, some of you may know, many of you don't know. My mom died in the middle of this campaign, and I know that she would be very proud. She was always proud of her boys and proud of her grandchildren. So this was a difficult 4 months. But we had a lot of people to support. We were at the early voting, 10 to 12 hours a day. I know the mayor remembers that. My wife was there holding that sign, my son. It was very hot. The workers I had, I don't know if Susan Admire's here, and the volunteers we had. This campaign was as grassroots as you can get. It was self-managed. My wife had actually taken the picture of this flyer right here. So if anybody needs a good photographer for the next election, so we sent out, she did a good job. You know, we sent out one email and this one mail piece 3 times. I was outraised 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 or whatever you want to call it by the other side. And I'm not counting the hundreds of thousands of dollars that was allayed against me and the mayor by certain election engineering organizations. I personally did not do any negative attacks. I stated on here what I did over the last 4 years, and here's my body of work. And thank goodness the majority of you and the majority of the voters in Palmetto Bay supported me by a large margin. You know, we took on special interests. In addition to that, the other side was endorsed by our local area commissioner. There was thousands of dollars at work. Again, this campaign was kind of against all odds. But you know, we had a message, and we stuck to it despite everything that was thrown against us. Anonymous emails by an anonymous author, blogs, and I stayed focused, and my wife made me stay focused on the message and on the people, and greeting the voters and being myself. So I wanted to take a minute to thank some special people and organizations. I was very proud to receive the endorsement of the South Florida Police Benevolence Association, Stedman Stahl president, David Greenwell president. They were great. Save Day, Justin Kletcher and his group and his leadership and their canvassing on my behalf was outstanding. The Miami Association of Realtors endorsed me, and the Concerned Citizens of Old Cutler. This is a resident-driven group, period. And I thank you for their support. Gary Pastorella and our former Palmetto Bay elected officials, I want to recognize and thank for their support. Former Mayor Shelley Stanzik, back there. And the very first person I met here in Palmetto Bay, my good friend, former Councilman Howard Tendrick. Right there. And that's true. We met at the council in June of 2007. I had just moved here. I said, I'll sit next to this guy right here with the ponytail. I don't know who he is. But anyway, I want to thank former District 1 representative for the city, Ed Feller, former council member Paul Neidhart for their support, and my good friend, former Vice Mayor John Dubois. I don't know if John is here, for his support. And I had a lot of people that really worked the neighborhoods and helped me too. My 2 main sign guys, Henry Clifford and David Zisman, putting up a lot of my signs. And the gentleman that printed all the signs, I don't even know if he's here, Mr. Greg Guerra, my printer. As I said, this campaign was self-managed. The people that actually worked the neighborhoods for me, starting with Misha Hawkins. She did a tremendous job in her neighborhood around 164th. My very good friend Raul Martinez, who helped me in his community, and actually all the homeowners communities were homeowners association communities were very supportive. Carol Vega and her neighborhood up on 178 Terrace, Jackie Caproon, my friend Bob Orban, and Stacy Lawrence for all their help in the neighborhoods. My friend James Woodard, I don't know if James is here, but thank you. Andy DeCardenas, I see my friend Chad Heffernan here. Thank you very much for your support. Carl and Steve Setta, my good friend Steve Schwartzman, John Linneberry, who worked his neighborhood, Mike Stein, and Jeremy Snowden, just to say a few names of people that actually went out and knocked on doors and spoke to a lot of people. Gilbert Vieira and Val Snyder for all their help. The people and all the residents in Manglewood, Stanley Cowlisser and George Tabor, and Miriam Cowlisser, thank you very much for your support. And I would be very remiss to not say a really big thank you to my friends Donna and Chuck Ladshaw for everything that you've been through. So much of your dedication is just to do what's right in the best interest of the village, period. And I cannot thank you for the signs you put up and all the work you did to help. Lastly, I would really ask future candidates for office in Palmetto Bay to disown this so-called anything goes politics, gotcha politics, whatever you want to call it. It serves no purpose. I think the voters, well, now, no, I know, the voters saw right through this. This time, all it does is create a hostile atmosphere in a great little town that we have. It turns neighbor against neighbor. And I ask those candidates in the future to reject this type of outside agitation and third-party consultants that seek to, thank you, that seek to destroy rather than create a legitimate dialogue. You know, complacency is not the answer either. You know, you can't have somebody for office and say, oh, well, I had nothing to do with that. That's not the answer. And that's not the answer the Lord wants to hear. And so for the final time, as your District 1 representative, I say to all of you, my friends, thank you all again, and may God bless you, and muchas gracias por tu apoyo, and vaya con Dios. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Councilman Fiore. And I wanted to thank you for your dedication, because in the short amount of time that I've worked in this job, I've been deeply impressed by how tirelessly you work for the benefit of the village. And it's not just appreciated, it's inspirational. So thank you for that. And last, but certainly not least, tonight we are swearing in someone well known to all Palmetto Bay residents. You know her because you have probably seen her out in the parks or in the schools or on the streets or in one of our businesses or restaurants here in town. That's because she does not lead from behind a desk. She leads by connecting with residents one-on-one. That's her style. This is someone who leads by listening to and responding to the concerns of Palmetto Bay residents. Someone who leads with compassion and with humanity and with understanding. But before we bring her up, we have two students tonight who will be administering an oath of office that they created, and I wanted to tell you briefly how that happened. In November, Mayor Cunningham visited the leadership class at Palmer Trinity, run by head of school Patrick Roberts, to speak about leadership. And she shared the Palmetto Bay Oath with the students. She then asked the students to name some leadership qualities and asked which ones they would include if they were creating an oath for the mayor to take. The oath that is being read tonight is what high school seniors Audrey and Simone came up with. Mayor Karen Cunningham, please join me. And to administer the oath of office, I'd like to call the Honorable Lisa Walsh and Mr. Mitch Mandler, Esquire, and Palmer Trinity students, Simone Olia and Audrey Lopez, who are both part of the class of 2023. I'm introducing our class.
Mayor, here's the. Okay, sound good? If I can just take a point of personal privilege, just say that I would add, as to the qualities of leadership that I greatly admire about you, I think it's elements of your character of strength, courage, integrity, loyalty, and grit. So kudos to you. If you can raise your right hand, please, to the other right hand. There you go. Left hand on the Bible. Right hand? Okay. And
I do solemnly affirm, I, Karen Cunningham, do solemnly affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States of the state of Florida and of the village of Palmetto Bay.
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and I will well and faithfully perform the duties of office of mayor, which I am now about to enter. Congratulations. We have another special. Let's do it.
Sure. I promise to lead the village of Palmetto Bay as a servant for the public good. I will dedicate my term to leading with a vision to serve the interests of our community. In my duty, I hope to be adaptable, act with integrity, and respect the opinions of others. As mayor, I will communicate with clarity, work hard, and uphold my promise to serve the village of Palmetto Bay. That was awesome.
Well, first of all, thank you. And thank you for all that have joined this evening. I truly am humbled and honored to have the opportunity to serve for another 4 years. And I really would like you to give yourselves a round of applause. I'm very, very appreciative of everyone's time and talent. So give it up for the residents of Palmetto Bay. So in classic style, we had Councilwoman Matson. You did a great job. And you spoke just as you would on the dais, right? We kind of like to get everything in. Patrick was short and to the point, and I'm going to speak just a little bit longer. I would say break out the popcorn, but go ahead and get yourself settled in because I've got quite a bit to say. Hopefully, I'll say it in the best way that I can. And I also want to take a moment. Thank you, State Representative Alina Garcia, for joining us this evening. I know we're looking forward to meeting with you coming up along with Senator Caralud here at Village Hall to talk about all things Palmetto Bay as we're moving forward. And I would be remiss, but she's going to get her own welcome in just a short time with closing remarks. Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, my friend, my mentor. She's like, I don't know if I want that, Karen. No thanks. You lead by great example, and I will say I am so appreciative all during the campaign. I know it's very difficult when you have neighbors, right, that are running and things get a little bit tough. But every time I met you, every time I saw you at an event, you recognized me as my mayor. And just know, here in this room, with all of these folks, you are our mayor, and I thank you for being here tonight. It means a lot to me. Let's give her a round of applause. She'll be speaking in just a few moments. So again, thank you. Like Patrick mentioned, we ran a grassroots campaign with volunteers and workers that are neighbors and friends, and many of them are here today. I do want to say thank you to my nothing short of amazing family. My brother Ken, who's in Chicago this evening and couldn't be with us. My very protective big sister, whom I love very, very much, Catherine, right here in the front. And to my nephew, some of you might have seen him. I think he had to step out for a few moments. Cameron, and my nephew Brennan as well, who's watching from home in Charleston. Mom and Dad, I think, would be so very proud of all of us and how we all come together during thick and thin. And there was a lot of thick and there was a lot of thin during this campaign cycle. I thank you guys for your unconditional support and for keeping me grounded in good things. And as Ken had mentioned to me, my brother, I guess around Thanksgiving, he was like, thank goodness you're back to your somewhat normal self. So I love you guys very much. To my beautiful daughter, Megan, who I think is tuned in. I know she's tuned in at home, and she was FaceTimed in for the swearing in. And her husband, Rusty, who they got married in May. They couldn't be here today, obviously, and we're joining by way of FaceTime. They were really constant reminders to me that I had the love of this community right up until the results came in. And it really lifted me because I think when you're in the thick of it, you don't see things as clearly, and I see some smiling faces that also helped keep me very, very grounded during this time. On election night, Megan made her way from Coral Reef Elementary over to St. Richard's, where I was, and it was raining right at the end. I don't know if you all remember election night, but it was raining, and it was raining hard. And we were standing under an umbrella together, and I will say she called it. She said, Mom, there's not going to be a runoff. And I said, yeah, I don't want you to be disappointed in me. There's going to be a runoff. And she said, I don't think you can see it because you're right here, and it's the atmosphere at this location is very different. But every location that we've been to all day has been extremely uplifting and happy, and there's not going to be a runoff. So I want to say that she called it. I know some other folks think they called it too, but a special thanks to my friend and neighbor, Mitch Mandler. Thank you for swearing me in for a second time. And for tolerating all kinds of shenanigans on 72nd Court over the course of time. And the manager is right over here if you want that police car back. I told you, just speak to the manager because Mitch is a big advocate for that police car in our neighborhood. And our very dear family friend, Judge Walsh, who has now sworn me in 3 times. So I know you have an extremely busy schedule. I love you, Lisa. Thank you so much. You are definitely an extended part of our family, and I'm honored to have you here again this evening. So thank you. A big shout out, I want to say, to Audrey. And Audrey, you interviewed me, didn't you? Yeah, we did a really, while I was on the campaign trail, as a matter of fact, I brought my sneakers so you could see that they really were. We had a conversation. It was, I don't remember what it was, but I think it was, you were talking about leadership. And I appreciated that. And I appreciate the award-winning swearing in with leadership qualities tonight. I think it's super important. The requirement, as we mentioned in your leadership class, it really just sets a minimum bar. Thank you for holding me to a higher bar. I also want to give a shout out to my friends at Palmer Trinity School that are here this evening. I know we send our condolences to Patrick. I know his dad recently passed away. But Suzanne and the team, I'm so honored to have you all here. Once a Falcon, always a Falcon. I'm not actually a Falcon mom. You're always a Falcon mom, so thank you for being an extended part of my family. You've heard me say many times over the course of the last 8 years, and it was something my mom always said to us, was you can never say thank you enough. And I know this is going to be long and tedious, so if you have to go someplace and plan your grocery list or something while I'm going through this very long list of supporters and friends, but I want to take time to thank and recognize them. So very important. These folks really brought unwavering support, believed in me many times when I was doubting myself, and stood with me for months preceding the election. You know, campaign work is extremely difficult for those of you who have served, and we have a lot of folks here that have volunteered on many, many campaigns. But when you have the good friends around you and great family, I think it really helps to lift you. We braved the heat. We braved the rain. We braved the mosquitoes, and we braved the naysayers, knocking on doors, making phone calls, text messages, all ensuring that no vote went unturned. These are in no particular order, and I know there is some peril in going through a long list of names because inadvertently I will forget somebody. So if I leave you out, I'm so sorry. Know that my heart is in the right place, but these are folks that stepped up quite frequently during the campaign. So to Harry and Debbie Narenberg, Tana and Leo Genus, my friends at Community Newspaper, Michael and Grant Miller. And Grant, thank you. I know you have a very, very busy schedule. Thank you for being here this evening. Henry Clifford, I saw was here a little bit. The Galls, my auctioneer friend, the Galls. Appreciate that, Jim. The Gordons, Dave Zisman, who also helped with my signage. Thanks, Patrick. The O'Hagans, Andrea and Rob. I know Rob is here somewhere representing. I know Andrea couldn't be with us this evening. Annette and Steve Katz, who are watching from home. Chuck and Donna Latshaw. I love you guys to pieces. Thank you, thank you, thank you for treating me like family. I really appreciate it. Barbara and Don Waters, the Arango family I saw just a little bit ago. Thank you. Marta Gillette, Susan and Victoria Admire, Jim and Nikki Woodard, Lynn and Steve Signori, Tom and Karen Yulee, Andrea Loring and Marvin Dunn, Raul and Nancy Martinez, Vice Mayor John Dubois, who wasn't able to be here this evening, Ralph Gazitua and your beautiful wife Cookie and your family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Joe Beer, Tamara and her husband Joe, which I saw a little bit earlier. Tamara's the president of the PBBA. I also want to give a shout out to Chamber South, Brittany Besant, awesome supporters. Brittany's not here because tonight's her birthday, so if you're watching, Brittany, happy birthday. The Gomez family, the Murins, Kelly Fullerton, Robert Batchen, Bill Richards, the Bolts, the Paredes family, the Nicolini family, the Baez Wallace family, Micha Hawkins, Jim Shedd, who stood at one of the polling places with my sister most of the day, the Hernandez family, Justin Kletcha, who I know Patrick mentioned, the Hernandez family. Oh, they got it in twice. Sorry about that. The 87th Avenue crew, I want to thank the Veras, the Snyders, Dara Vorse, Morellis, the Hutchins, the Werschwills, Renee Reichling, Meg Lopez, the Landows, the Sondones, the Nunez family, Brick Peoples, who is a very, very dear friend. George Polito and his family, Claudia Uribe, Carmen and Matthew Baker, the Lugos, and then Coach Joe Scott. I saw you here. Coach, thank you. And 143rd Street, Manny, thank you so much. And your entire block, as I was mentioning to you before, sometimes on the hard days, I'd drive through my own neighborhood where there were a lot of signs. I'd also come down your street, 143rd Street. I'm like, I'm going to take a spin down 143rd Street and lift myself up a little bit. Stanley Calasar and beautiful Miriam, I really can't thank you enough for the countless number of meals. I'm not going to mention the glasses, but there were long days of campaigning, and there would always be a text that would say, hey, we're fixing dinner. Do you want to come by? Or when you're done, as Stanley likes to say, harassing the neighbors, come on over, meet us at Anna Capri. I appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that I know that I was in your daily prayers, like so many residents in the village. To Gary Pastorella and our former mayor, two formers ago, but you have stayed actively involved, Shelley Stanzik, and to former council member Howard Tendridge. I'm super appreciative. I don't think you all know the impact that you had. I hope you know the impact that you had in correcting the record when there was so much misinformation. You sent out, Gary, I know you sent out countless emails to counter a lot of mailers, text messages, and all kinds of stuff on social media. Howard, I know you're passionate about several things here in the village, and you made sure to step up each time sending something out to the community to correct the record. I'm very, very grateful. To Harrison Tellum, who is not here. Oh, Harrison is here. All right, Harrison. I love it. You're zoomed in or FaceTimed in. Listen, buddy, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You are really an amazing, I can see him. You are really an amazing young man, but most importantly, and we got off to a start. We'll call it a start because every new friendship has a little bit of a start, and you got to kind of figure each other out. But it was really just within the course of a few weeks, my vision became your vision. My passion became your passion. You are an amazing young man. I know your dad. Your mom is sitting here beaming from ear to ear. I saw her show you that toothy grin. But I know your dad is beaming from heaven above. So proud of the man that you have become. I consider you a friend, and I'm just really glad to have had some small part in your journey, because great things are going to happen with you, Harrison. Tell him, mark my words, I said it tonight. So you really conducted yourself, even when things got a little out of hand, not from us, but conducted yourself in a manner that I think every resident in this community can be proud of. And you're only 17. Has he already turned 18? No, you're only 17 years old. So give Harrison a round of applause. I love you, man. To the rest of the team, Valentina, Jesse, Yoli, Irma, Nelson, each one of these folks pushed extremely hard. They left no vote unturned. Well, they must have, because not everybody voted for me. But they really left no vote unturned. They worked very hard. My success is their success, and I'm very appreciative. To my longtime friend, and political advisor. You met my spiritual advisor over here and political advisor over here. Notice they're sitting on opposite sides. I don't know what that means, but we've known each other for, it's got to be at least 20 years in my work with United Teachers of Dade. Your team at Edge Communications, I'm so appreciative, and I'm even more honored to have you here today. You kept me focused and kept me keeping the white noise out. I know we've had a lot of conversation. I'm surprised you're still talking to me, actually. I know we had a lot of conversations. There were a lot of text messages, a lot of phone calls, even bumped heads a couple of times, right? But I needed that. And I think it helped to kind of calm me down, yet push me forward. So I thank you. I love you as well. And I really am appreciative that you're here this evening. To my colleagues, our charter officers, and if I could get them to stand. Yes, please stand. Nick, Missy, John De La Gloria. Let's give them a round. I told you everybody likes you guys more. Yeah, every time I do that, we get the chant. I almost feel like there's going to be a chant. Listen, I have 2 words for you. No runoff. Because I don't know how much longer you could have tolerated me. Listen, navigating the world between politics and good government can be extremely difficult, and you all do it with class. You do it with grace. You yell at me once in a while, but it's all good. You do it very, very well. I felt extremely well supported by your friendship and your words of encouragement. I'm sorry that I sniveled just a little bit. When Christian wouldn't pick up the phone, and sometimes I'd call one of you. Listen, you represented the people well. You didn't let me get caught up in the negative noise. I thank you for all you do for the great people of the village. I'm grateful for your friendship. And more importantly, I am looking forward to serving with you all for the next 4 years. So thank you guys very much. To Commander Guerra, I'm glad you walked in or are nearby at this moment. Lieutenant Rodriguez and Sergeant Rubio and your entire department, I thank you for your professionalism and the care that you brought when handling my safety concerns. Again, I'll mention to Mitch, if you want that police car, we have the commander at the back. Just mention it, pointing out, highlighting all the folks for you. My safety concerns during the campaign. Listen, nobody should be bullied or physically threatened when they're running for office, just as no resident should be put in that same position. You and your team, I know you see residents every single day and address concerns every single day, but you and your team, especially during those final 4 or 5 days when I have to say, was becoming a little unnerved and frazzled, and I'm not ashamed to say that. You and your team treated me as though I were your mother. Well, I hope not your mother, but I guess I could be someone's mother, sister, spouse, family member, and for that I am eternally grateful. You are very good friends. You are a part of my extended family as well. I thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm sorry, I told you I have a lot to say, so I'm just at the thank you part now. So to our Vice Mayor, Leanne Tellum, just so you know, Harrison's disappeared from that picture, so. And he raised his hand. And Councilmember Cody, I just want to say thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your endorsements. Those were very valuable and meaningful to me. And thank you for the number of people that you brought to the table. I know there wasn't a day that went by that you weren't doing outreach, connecting with folks, having conversations with folks. And while I might not have always agreed with the way in which some of the messaging got out, I think in many respects, you helped people to understand, whether it was having a conversation, doing a meet and greet, or sending out a video. I think you really connected with folks to help them understand what was happening in our village. And I can honestly say I don't think I could have been able to do it without you. Leanne, I know I sat when I wasn't at Stanley's counter, I was at your counter, so appreciative of that. To my very, very dear friend, almost like a brother, Patrick, I don't really know if I could have made it through the 2 weeks of early voting without you. Yeah, don't cry, please. Don't cry. Don't cry. You're going to make me cry. Well, first of all, every morning I got cafecito, which, I really appreciated. He would pull up. I know he likes he's got his Cuban spot that he goes to and would bring me a coffee. I guess I kind of grew to expect it each morning. There was one morning Patrick came and I was like, wait, he's not walking across with coffee. You have to cross 152 Street. And he got there and he was like, I'm so sorry, I'll bring extra. The line was really long and I didn't have time to wait. Listen, I really appreciate you. I'm glad there wasn't a runoff and I didn't have to turn to you to ask for your endorsement as well. But I think in a large part the reason why I'm standing here today goes back to 2014. Decisions were made, a spot opened up for me, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity to continue service, but also to have had the opportunity, because heaven knows I would not run against Councilmember Fiore. We know how that works out. So I thank you, and all I can say is FIA, and that's all I got. So I'm grateful for the support and endorsements from many organizations and friends who have had the opportunity to work with me through the years. The former state representative, Vance Lupus, Alina is filling his big shoes. Our former school board member, Dr. Larry Feldman, Aventura Mayor Enid Weissman, Village of Pinecrest Mayor Joe Cordino, the former mayor of Key Biscayne, now Mike Davey, Councilwoman Anna Hokemer from Pinecrest, Barbara Slesnik, former Councilwoman Commissioner from Coral Gables, our former Vice Mayor Brian Pariser, in addition to John Dubois, Howard, who I mentioned a little bit ago, the former Pinecrest Council members James McDonald and Bob Ross, former Superintendent Octavio Viciedo, the president of the AFL-CIO, who happens to be a resident here in the village, Jeff Mitchell, Miami Realtors, the professors of United Faculty, Save LGBTQ+, the transportation workers, IBEW, the crane operators. No, I'm not bringing any cranes into Palmetto Bay, but they are a union, and I have a long history with them. And as Patrick mentioned, I know the South Florida Police Benevolent Association rarely gets involved with small town politics, but they did step up for both Patrick and I, and I'm very grateful to Stedman Stahl and Vice President David Greenwell. I also want to do a little bit of a shout out to my boss, President of United Teachers of Dade. She's not here this evening, but I do thank her and her leadership team. It's hard when you're an employee and you have to walk away from work for several months, which I did. I took a leave of absence, and I'm super grateful for their encouragement, support, and of course the endorsement of my peers. To the almost 300 residents and local businesses that contributed to my campaign, and the almost 750 residents and businesses that hosted yard signs. I know they say that signs don't vote, but there's nothing more uplifting when you're a candidate than driving through a community and seeing signs to let you know that there are people out there rooting for you. For all of these folks, all I say is thank you. Given the political climate, this election cycle in Palmetto Bay, it really took great courage for people to speak up, stand up, and put their name to a candidate. Your courage was contagious. It helped me every single day. Thank you. I don't take any of the endorsements, both from the residents, the businesses, and all these great organizations for granted. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry, I did this at the State of the Village as well. Sorry about that. Now, about this election. I think it's safe to say that this was the most expensive and nastiest campaign that the residents of the village of Palmetto Bay have had to endure, in the history of the village, in a 20-year history. I'm sorry, these are not tears of anguish. I've been getting over a cold for 3 weeks. For nearly 4 years, developer-funded PACs have spread lies and misinformation in this community. I'm going to say it again. For 4 years, my entire first term as your mayor, developer-funded PACs have spread lies and misinformation in this community. Shame on them. Through the course of the 4 years, I have tried to deal with each of these attacks head on. But at some point, unfortunately, there's not enough time, there's not enough money to correct all the misinformation. And frankly, that's exactly what they wanted. The election cycle outside, in this election cycle, outside interests spent over $250,000 in a small town campaign to unseat 2 sitting elected officials. $250,000. Yes, big thumbs down. You can all give thumbs down, because that is, as Patrick pointed out, that probably is one of the biggest distractions, and it discourages good people, probably people that are sitting right here, from wanting to run for public office. Nobody wants to have to endure the kind of public, constant humiliation inside a campaign cycle and outside a campaign cycle. But what I'm proud to say is that this community is educated, this community is engaged, and this community knew better. And for that, I am very, very grateful. Sixty-seven percent of this community rejected those negative ads. This applause is for all of you. Together, you sent a resounding message. Palmetto Bay is not for sale. Now, I have to tell you, I'm a bit of a realist too, and my family can tell you that. I know that there's a couple of folks that are just never going to go away, and I accept that. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. I've had this conversation actually with many friends here. They thrive on negativity. They thrive on tearing people down. They thrive on creating a negative atmosphere in our village. But I stand before you tonight and commit that Palmetto Bay is not for sale. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever on my watch. And I ask you, and I ask each and every resident, those that are sitting here, those that are visiting and passing through, because it's only a short time until you're added to that email list, I'm sure, and those that are watching from home, get your information from reliable sources. If you don't want to talk with me or you don't want to talk with a member of the council, pick up the phone, have the conversation with Manager Morano. Call Village Clerk Arocha. Talk to your next door neighbor. Have conversations with people. Ask for reliable forms of information so that you are as informed as 67% of the community is. For those that did not vote for me, why? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, that was so tense. I said, let me do a little icebreaker here. I'm just kidding. I do. I look forward, as I said in 2018, I look forward to meeting with you. I know I see a lot of appointments coming in for Friday. I have Mayor is in hours on Friday afternoon. I look forward to chatting with folks. I want to hear your ideas. Please reach out to one of the five of us and have the discussions. Anyone, we are one vote here. Anyone can bring an item forward. Anyone can bring your thoughts and ideas for discussion here in these chambers. The electoral process can be emotional and passionate, but with the elections now behind us, I ask that we start to turn our attention to coming together as a community and refocus on the challenges and issues as we move forward together. As we open this next chapter in Palmetto Bay, it is my pleasure to welcome back Councilmember Patrick Fiore and Councilwoman Matson to the Village Council. I don't know who that is, but I'm bringing you on the road show with me. I love it. Together, along with my friend, Vice Mayor Leanne Tellum and Councilmember Cody, we will continue to work to ensure that government remains inclusive, responsive, and respectful. Palmetto Bay has always prided itself as a welcoming small town where residents are able to escape the stresses of everyday life and enjoy families along with our beautiful parks, great schools, and the many recreational opportunities our community has to offer. The typical home value, thank you, Mr. Manager, in the village of Palmetto Bay is now almost $1 million. The average home value in the village is almost $1 million. These home values have gone up 33% in just the last year. Buying a home is one of the best long-term investments you can make. Not possible for everybody, but for most homeowners in the village, the purchase of their home is their biggest investment. I see the vice mayor nodding. It was mine when Megan's dad and I relocated to our home from just west of Pinecrest in 1995, and remains our biggest investment almost 30 years later. The purchase of my home meant stability, and frankly, it meant I made it, right? I had moved into the big time. I like that you laughed a little, sister. Thank you. Over the next 4 years, I'm going to continue to work to protect your investment here in the village. As I walked and drove the streets of our village during the campaign, listening to residents, whether they lived in single-family homes or in multi-family units right here in the downtown area, the one thing that resonated with me was people's desire to maintain this village vibe while providing more amenities, dining, and specialty retail. I look forward to continuing to work with our small business community and associations and chambers to help attract and retain more businesses that will enhance the quality of services residents are looking for and build in jobs to keep South Dade from having to travel north to get to work. That begins right here in our downtown area where transit-oriented development belongs. I will continue to prioritize the safety of our residents and your quality of life. Last week, I met with the village manager and commander to talk about the continued safety issues on some of the streets due to speed and volume of cut-through traffic. This year, we added a new police officer as a part of our budget. I have requested that we use the additional police officer to provide enforcement to some areas that are suffering the most from our morning and afternoon commuters. I will continue to enhance and improve bicycle and pedestrian mobility. We have increased our budget through our Street by Street program, and I say that because it's something that was implemented and then augmented by this village manager. It was implemented in 2018 after I got elected, adding significant dollars for street paving and sidewalks. But I have recommended an assessment of all of our streets where residential neighborhoods abut commercial areas and in areas where our beloved schools are, so that we can work to create a street design that not only enhances the look of our community, but slows traffic to keep our residents safe. And I did want to give a shout out to my friend, I don't know if he's watching, Mr. Kestel, Bill Kestel at home. We had a very, very long conversation, and I can say this is a really great example of folks that don't always agree with you, but that sit and have coffee on their front porch. And I was very appreciative of that. So, Mr. Kestel, if you're watching, this includes our crosswalks. Got it, Mr. Manager? Yeah. But, yeah. A good guy. By evaluating streetscape conditions, our village will maintain its fresh and pristine image, increasing our property values and making Palmetto Bay an even more attractive place to live. I will continue to support and enhance our parks. We know that our parks are important to residential quality of life. And as we wrap up our Parks Master Plan, I'm so sorry, that's not very attractive, but apologize. The result would be worse than what I just did. As we wrap up our Parks Master Plan, which I believe is this week on December 8th, we're having a meeting at Palmer Trinity. Is that correct? Thank you for partnering with us to do that. That we will move swiftly to implement larger projects like the Coral Reef Rec Room and use our dollars to purchase property in collaboration with the county to create small neighborhood park spaces, which, as we know, also increase home values, and these are also a part of our Parks Master Plan. I want residents and visitors alike to know exactly where they are when they enter our village. From streets design to signage, from garbage receptacles to bus benches, I want to have the look and feel of the outstanding high-end community that you have made your biggest investment in. And as all of this, I believe, can be accomplished without increasing taxes. I'm waiting for the big nod. Okay, I got the big nod and the thumbs up. Now that we have our fiscal house in order. These are just a few of my priorities as I take my seat for the second term as your mayor. This is my last swearing in. It is. I know some people, there's at least 33% that are cheering, yay! But this is my last swearing in. I'm sure there'll be other colleagues that are sworn in after me, but it's my last swearing in serving on this council, and it will be my last term. I'm excited for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, how we deal with future development, environmental concerns, traffic, and transit will continue to impact our quality of life here in the village. I will continue to work hard and will do so with joy and wisdom and friendship and optimism. I couldn't be prouder to represent our amazing community, and I look forward to what lies ahead. Together, we will continue the journey to move our village forward while preserving its history. And together, we will make Palmetto Bay a better place to live, work, learn, and play. God bless each of you, and God bless Palmetto Bay.
Congratulations, Mayor Cunningham. Instead of me reading the long list of things I admire about you, I'm just going to sum it all up and say thank you for being you. The other residents and I think all recognize your rare combination of great strength and great kindness, and that's why you're with us for another 4 years. And now I would like to welcome and introduce Palmetto Bay resident and mayor for Miami-Dade County, serving more than 2.7 million residents, Mayor Daniela Levine Cava.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Palmetto Bay. It's a wonderful, wonderful night to be with all of you. I'm very proud and honored to, I'm very short too. Yeah, oh yeah, okay. The shortest, I was the shortest commissioner. I'm sure I'm the shortest mayor. This is my beloved hometown. I was tallying it up. It's been 9 years. How about that? That's a good amount of time, right? And I love, love living here. So it's paradise. You know, I like to say Miami-Dade County is paradise, but truly our village is an extraordinary place to live. And it's because of our leadership. So to all of you who make a difference, not just the elected, but those who are selected, each and every day you're taking such good care of our residents and our businesses, and truly it's an honor. Certainly our beautiful parks, some of which were bequeathed by the county. I'm happy to say they're in good hands. The wonderful people, our shared prosperity. I did not know that about the median home price. That is pretty extraordinary. Please, nobody move because you won't be able to live anyplace else. I know we hear that all the time. That's another story. And we do need to find ways to help our young people and so on to be here. But I am very, very fortunate to live here. I'm blessed to have one of the great gems of our county park system, Deering, right here in our village. And it's wonderful. So it's great to be back here in Village Hall. I don't get to spend as much time as I did when I was county commissioner. Some of you were involved when I walked and called in 2014 to have that tremendous honor bestowed upon me. And for those who aren't, I'm your mayor anyway. And, you know, here I am. very, very delighted for those of you who helped along the way and for those who helped to reelect these wonderful members of your council and your mayor. And thank you to our honorable judges who've presided, to our Reverend, who always is a great, great addition, and to congratulations, Representative Garcia, for being with us here tonight. It's wonderful to have you here. And we have known each other very well many years at County Hall, so I know she'll continue to do that great job. Well, this is truly a special place. And as I said, it's because of all of you who've made it so. But I do want to say, Mayor Cunningham, I am extremely proud, pleased, and relieved that you are our mayor once again. Okay. Congratulations for your well-deserved re-election. And I know that you'll continue to be a wonderful steward. Thank goodness it's 4 years. Some cities it's every 2. Can you imagine? Yes. And truly it has been really distressing to see the level of rancor that has invaded our little village. And congratulations to Commissioner Fiore, Councilman Fiore, Vice Chairman Tellem, and to those who have, Councilwoman Matson, Councilwoman Cody, for navigating this difficult season. Hopefully, even though there are always naysayers, hopefully the discourse can return to greater civility. That is what's most important to our democracy, because it corrodes trust when we have this level, low level of discourse. So thank you for talking about your plans. You are an avid supporter of transit-oriented development. You're a champion for our parks and outdoors. You're a fierce fighter for encroaching development. And I know that working with this team yet again, you will continue this great work, and I will be very proud to support you at County Hall. Also, Marcia Matson and Patrick Fiore, who are back again. Congratulations again. Marcia is a champion here. She's lived here nearly 30 years, definitely surpasses me, before it was a village. And so alongside residents, you helped to make Palmetto Bay a village and achieve that dream. You also have worked hard to educate our fellow residents on hurricane preparedness, and your career in government and as a politics professor serves as an inspiration. And please don't hesitate to give me advice. I'm always open. I want to acknowledge also my friend, Patrick Fiore, who I've known for many years. You are a council veteran. You've served the village since 2010. And before taking that seat, you had already touched the lives of so many across our county. You had a 22-year career with the state of Florida and served us well. We're very proud of that work. Locally, you worked with Camilla's House. You found employment for homeless veterans and their families at the Department of Homeland Security, and you transported refugee children to sponsors all over the United States. And thank you so much for doing that. Unfortunately, they themselves have been victimized, and you have stood strong and tall for them. I'm confident that you also will continue doing this great work. So I know it's long and it's late, and thank you for giving me just the final word. I'm so proud to be with all of you, grateful for this great village where I call home. And yes, Madam Mayor, you are my mayor. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. That is our program. Thank you for coming. As we close tonight, we want to invite you to join us outside by our amazingly beautiful Christmas tree for some cake. And then our regular council meeting will follow right here afterwards in the council chambers.